It started as just another day on set. Bright lights, cameras rolling, and the quiet buzz of anticipation. No one, not even the production team, expected what would happen when Dylan Wang and Shen Yue crossed paths again after years apart. The two had not been publicly seen together since their unforgettable run as Dao Mingxi and Shankai in Meteor Garden, the series that turned them into global stars. Their chemistry was undeniable, their bond magnetic. Fans across Asia and beyond fell in love with the way they brought their characters to life. But as the cameras stopped rolling, so did their public appearances together. Rumors of distance, career focus, and even quiet tension circulated. So when Shen Yue walked into the studio that afternoon, unexpectedly, unannounced, Dylan's reaction was completely unscripted. The moment the door opened, Dylan was in the middle of a casual interview. The crew was filming some behind-the-scenes footage for an upcoming brand event. His usual confident demeanor, that signature mischievous grin, everything changed the instant he caught sight of her. A brief pause, a flicker of disbelief in his eyes. Then silence. The air in the room seemed to shift. You could almost feel the electricity, the weight of shared history that words couldn't describe. Shen Yue, ever graceful and calm, offered a polite smile, clearly aware of the stir her presence caused. She wasn't there as part of the plan. It was said she came to surprise the team and congratulate the director she once worked with. But no one missed how her gaze briefly met Dylan's. For a second, both just stood there. No acting, no cameras directing the scene. Just two people who once created something beautiful together, face to face again. The crew later revealed that Dylan's reaction caught everyone off guard. He wasn't supposed to break from his interview, but he did. He laughed nervously, rubbed the back of his neck, and tried to compose himself. His words stumbled slightly as he said, "Oh, wow, it's been a while." That moment went viral almost immediately. Clips from the set leaked online, fans dissecting every glance and expression. "Did you see his eyes?" one fan wrote. "That was genuine surprise, no acting there." Another commented, "He still looks at her the same way he did years ago." As the buzz grew online, many fans began reminiscing about Meteor Garden and the unforgettable dynamic between Dylan and Shen Yue. The show didn't just define their careers, it tied their names together in the hearts of millions. Back then, behind every playful scene and every argument, there was real chemistry that couldn't be faked. Even the director once admitted in an interview that Dylan's intensity toward Shen Yue made certain moments feel too real. So seeing them reunited, even briefly, reignited that same feeling. It was as if time hadn't passed. Industry insiders later shared that both Dylan and Shen Yue have matured tremendously since their Meteor Garden days. Dylan had become one of China's most sought-after actors, praised for his versatility in both romantic dramas and fantasy series. Shen Yue, meanwhile, had evolved into a respected actress known for her sincerity and emotional depth. Despite their busy schedules, their paths never seemed to cross, until now. And while some fans speculated that this accidental reunion might have been staged, others believe it was truly spontaneous. Those who were present swore by Dylan's reaction, it wasn't rehearsed. The surprise, the nostalgia, and the warmth, it was all real. Later that evening, Dylan took to social media, posting a simple message. Some memories never fade. No tag, no context, just those words, and fans immediately knew who he was referring to. Shen Yue didn't respond publicly, but sharp-eyed followers noticed she liked a fan edit of their Meteor Garden reunion clip, a soft smile captured between them. It was subtle, but enough to send the internet into a frenzy. Comment sections exploded with excitement. Are they hinting at something? Please tell me this means we'll see them together again. Maybe a new project? Dylan's eyes said everything. You can't fake that. It wasn't just nostalgia. It was something deeper, a longing to see two people who once brought joy to millions share the screen again. Behind the scenes, people close to both stars revealed that their connection had always been special. They understood each other's personalities in ways few others could. During Meteor Garden, Dylan was still new to the industry, raw, spontaneous, full of youthful energy, while Shen Yue, with her calm and grounded nature, balanced him perfectly. That chemistry didn't fade overnight. Sources say that after their brief encounter, Dylan and Shen Yue shared a quiet moment away from the cameras. No drama, no tension, just laughter and genuine warmth. Someone overheard Dylan joking. You still make an entrance like a drama heroine. Shen Yue laughed softly, replying, and you still forget your lines when you're surprised. Simple words, but fans couldn't get enough. By the next day, entertainment headlines across platforms were filled with one story. Dylan Wang and Shen Yue reunite after years. Unscripted emotions capture fans' hearts. Clips of the moment reached millions of views in hours. Reaction videos flooded social media, and the hashtag Dylan Shen Yue reunion trended for days. Producers and networks began whispering about the possibility of a collaboration, perhaps a reunion project, maybe even a romantic drama revival. Fans were already begging for it, claiming it's time. They belonged together on screen again. But beyond the cameras, something genuine lingered. People who witnessed their reunion described it as heartfelt, two friends reconnecting, perhaps even rekindling a quiet understanding they once shared. Dylan's close circle later hinted that the encounter made him nostalgic. He was smiling the whole day after, one team member confessed. He said it felt like stepping back in time. And Shen Yue, she reportedly told a friend, it reminded me why that time was so special. Whether this meeting was fate, coincidence, or something quietly planned, no one knows for sure. But what's undeniable is that it touched millions. In a world where so much is scripted, rehearsed, and filtered for perfection, Dylan Wang's reaction reminded fans of something pure, authentic emotion. It wasn't about fame or image. It was about a genuine human moment, surprise, nostalgia, and the lingering connection between two people who once shared something magical. And maybe that's why fans refused to let it go. Because somewhere between that stunned look and soft smile, they saw a spark that time hadn't dimmed. A reminder that sometimes the most beautiful moments aren't planned. They just happen, unscripted, unexpected, and unforgettable. That night, long after the cameras were turned off and the trending hashtags began to quiet down, something unexpected happened. Dylan Wang's team confirmed that he stayed behind at the studio even after most people had left. He wasn't required to. His schedule for the day was over, but those who remained said he lingered, talking quietly with Shen Yue in one corner of the room. No managers, no assistants, just them. It was as if time had folded back to 2018, the early days of Meteor Garden, when they'd stay late rehearsing lines, laughing over silly mistakes, and sharing quiet conversations about their fears and dreams. A crew member who witnessed that moment later revealed, it wasn't awkward. It was warm, familiar. They talked softly, laughed, and for a few minutes, it didn't feel like two celebrities catching up. It felt like two old friends finding comfort in each other again. Dylan was reportedly the first to break the ice, teasing her in his usual playful tone. He said, "You really like surprising people, don't you? I almost forgot how much chaos you bring when you walk into a room." Shen Yue smiled, tilting her head slightly. "And yet, you're still the one who panics when I do," she replied, laughing. It was the kind of banter that reminded everyone why fans love their dynamics so much. They didn't have to force chemistry, it just flowed naturally, even after years apart. As the evening went on, the two moved to a quiet outdoor patio, sipping coffee while waiting for their rides. The city lights shimmered behind them, the hum of cars blending softly with their voices. Dylan asked her about her recent projects. Shen Yue spoke about how she's been focusing on roles that challenge her emotionally, characters that allow her to grow, not just in fame, but in understanding people. Then she paused and said something that caught Dylan off guard. "I used to be scared that I'd always be remembered only as Shan Kai. That no matter what I do, people will always see me as the girl who fell in love with Dao Mingxi." Dylan looked at her for a moment before replying, "Maybe that's not such a bad thing. Shan Kai taught a lot of people how to believe in love again." Shen Yue smiled softly, but there was something reflective in her gaze. "Maybe. But I also wonder if Shan Kai and Dao Mingxi would have survived in real life." Dylan chuckled, leaning back. "I don't know, but I think they'd still find their way back to each other somehow. Maybe not in the same way, but you know." A pause, a shared silence that said everything words couldn't. Later, when they finally said their goodbyes, Shen Yue gave him a gentle nod. "It was good seeing you again, Dylan. Unexpected, but good." He grinned. That boyish look still there. Next time, give me a warning before you show up. My reaction went viral. She laughed, walking toward her car. Maybe that's what you needed, to remind people you're still human. As her car drove off, Dylan stood there for a while, watching the taillights fade into the distance. In the days that followed, Dylan was quieter than usual during interviews. When asked about the viral reunion moment, he smiled modestly and said, "Sometimes life gives you a surprise that reminds you where you started." The interviewer pressed for more, asking if he and Shen Yue might collaborate again. Dylan simply replied, "If the right story finds us, who knows?" That small statement was enough to reignite the internet. Fans flooded comment sections with demands for a Meteor Garden sequel or a brand new romance series featuring the duo. Petitions, edits, and fan-made posters filled social media feeds with captions like, "They belong together on screen again," and "Unscripted chemistry can be recreated, it just exists." Meanwhile, Shen Yue, always more reserved online, didn't post anything directly about the reunion. But fans noticed subtle things. She posted a picture of a sunset with the caption, "Some meetings don't need to be planned, they just happen at the right time." It wasn't explicit, but everyone knew what, or rather, who, she was talking about. Insiders later revealed that the encounter had stirred quiet conversations among industry producers. There were rumors that both actors had been approached for a modern romantic film, a story about two people who fall in love after meeting again years later under surprising circumstances. Fans immediately drew parallels, calling it too perfect to be a coincidence. But what stood out most was the sincerity in the way both handled the attention. There were no exaggerated PR moves, no forced interactions, no staged photos. Everything felt natural, grounded, and real. Weeks later, Dylan attended a fan event in Shanghai. During a Q&A, a fan boldly asked, "If you could work with any actress again, who would it be?" Dylan paused for a moment, smiling as the crowd began chanting Shen Yu's name. Then he nodded and said, "She was my first co-star who made me understand what it means to connect emotionally with someone on screen. I'd always be happy to work with her again." The entire hall erupted into cheers. Not long after that, Shen Yue appeared on a variety show where she was asked about that exact clip. The host laughed and said, "So Dylan Wang said he'd be happy to work with you again. What do you think?" Shen Yue blushed slightly, tucking her hair behind her ear. "Did he really say that?" she asked softly before smiling. "Well, I think some things don't need to be forced. If it happens, it happens." It was a simple statement, but once again, the internet exploded. Fans couldn't help but see the poetic symmetry, both open, both calm, both leaving the door slightly ajar for what might come next. Behind the media buzz, those close to them said something had subtly shifted. They began texting occasionally, sharing updates about work, encouraging each other, sometimes even exchanging playful jokes. It wasn't anything grand or dramatic. It was quiet, respectful, and full of mutual understanding. A producer who had worked with Dylan noted, "He talks about her differently now. There's a lot of admiration in his tone. He respects who she's become." And Shen Yue, when asked in a private interview about friendships in the industry, mentioned, "There are some people who remind you where your heart started. I think that's a rare gift." Months after their reunion, both stars continued to thrive in their careers. But fans couldn't shake the feeling that something more was brewing, a slow, unspoken connection rekindled not by fame, but by familiarity. Their story wasn't about rumors or confessions. It was about timing, growth, and the quiet magic of meeting someone again when you least expect it. And maybe, just maybe, that's why Dylan's reaction resonated so deeply. Because it wasn't scripted. It wasn't planned. It was real. A fleeting moment of recognition that reminded everyone watching that some bonds, no matter how much time passes, never truly fade.